Hello everyone! Let's go over the agenda for today's video. First, I will provide some background information about the lesson. Next, I will explain why I designed this activity. Then, I will go through the features of the activity. And last, I will provide you with some options for modifications. Let's begin with the background information. This is a kindergarten ELA lesson from week 21, and it is the writing lesson, lesson number 2. If you are looking for this in Into Reading, look for module 6, week 1, lesson 2. The technology I will be using is Google Slides, and you will need some knowledge of how to make Google Slides interactive for the students. Now, I will tell you why I decided to design this specific activity. At the end of the week, students are expected to plan, draft, and revise a how-to text. So they need to be able to produce a procedural text. In order to do that, they have to organize various steps and put those steps into a specific sequence. In terms of writing, they need to organize their writing, make a plan for how they're going to write, and take time to revise, which all relate to the executive functioning skills. So these are skills that students need, not just for writing, but for everyday activities. So I decided that this would be an important area to focus on, since students are not only going to learn how to produce a text, but also support their executive functioning. Now let's take a look at the activity itself. First, I created a teacher version of the activity. Then I downloaded each of the slides as an image file. This way, in the student version of the activity, I can upload the slide image as a background. And the reason I did this is so that students won't be able to move around things that they don't need to interact with. Now let's continue by looking at the student version of the activity. This activity can be used as a mini lesson for the entire group. It could also be used for small group instruction. It can be used as a way to reteach the concepts for students who are still having a difficult time understanding how to sequence steps. This activity would work for students who need additional practice and students who need additional scaffolds. So the activity itself is very versatile, and you can decide how you want to use it for your specific students' needs. So now I will take you through the activity from the student's perspective. There is a learning objective in the very beginning to identify and order the steps of a procedural text. We will refer back to the previous day's lesson where we created an anchor chart about the features of a procedural text or a how-to text. Then students will see an example, one that they are familiar with, how to pack up. There will be 3 steps, and each step will have a picture connected to it. Next, students will practice with you in writing the steps for how to make or eat cereal. Since this is a we do portion of the activity, you can share the link of the Google Slides that you are on. That way all the students are on the same Google slide. There will be some boxes to type into. So you could type, or if your students are comfortable with typing and they have the Google slide open, they can type. So I just typed how to make cereal here. The next part is the how to map. So there will be 3 parts: first, next, last. Again, options for students to type here, or you can have students drag and drop the images related to the step. You can decide how you want the students to interact with this portion of the activity, but I do suggest making it so that they are engaging with the Google Slides. And they can do this by either typing or dragging images. After they finish working with you on how to make/eat cereal, they will get a chance to practice on their own. So on this slide, students will choose one of the activities and they will create a how-to map, just like we did previously for this activity. So students can choose between build a snowman or wash your hands. After they have chosen, they simply need to click on the one they chose. They're going to drag that box onto the lines below. And those are the only two things they can move on this slide. Then students will repeat a similar activity where they will type out the 3 steps. The great thing about Google Slides is students can look for images directly through Google Slides. They click Insert, Image, Search from Web, and for this one, I'm going to look up rolling snowballs. This is a pretty good image, so I'm going to click that one and insert it into my Google Slides. And this is the image I will use for step 1. Now I will talk about some options for modifications. So instead of having students search for images, you can also provide images for each step. So here are some images that you can use. I would just take out one of the steps to simplify the sequence. That way students are still using the 1, 2, 3 how-to map. Another option for modification is changing the procedures that students use in this activity. You can choose procedures that your students are more familiar with. So you might want to pick a general category such as food, then allow students to choose which food they want to write about. So if they are really familiar with PB&J, then they can write how to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. If they know a lot about how to make something like a tamale, then they can definitely write about that. So this is also a chance to make sure that what you're teaching is culturally relevant for the students. And this activity would give students a way to share something about themselves with their classmates. Thanks for watching.